Welcome, everyone. It's been a minute. Got some new announcements, got some unbelievable co-host here. So let's get started on our road to Arnold predictions. I want to welcome Sean from Sup Talk. Sean has just been incredible to us, not only with helping us get our podcast started, which is Gym Guys Podcast, but just introducing us to everyone that you see on the screen and beyond. Love his content. If you're not watching Sup Talk Radio or Masters Muscle, you absolutely owe it to yourself to do so. So, Sean, thank you for joining us today. With that, I have obviously the prestigious Mr. Eric Schwartz. Eric owns Paw Power, a great dog supplement company. If you are not familiar with it, you need to absolutely check this out. Unbelievable peanut butter type product that is made for dogs without all the different artificial ingredients in it. A great way to give medication to your dogs. And again, I speak from experience, and you'll see it on former podcasts. I love using the omega-3s with my little dog. Actually just really helps her eat the regular kibble that we give her. So if you're into pet health, hair, skin and nails, bone health, just overall pet health, make sure you check out Paw Power. Also, he is a reviewer of supplements. So if you're not checking out his TikTok or YouTube, be sure to. You're going to get the honest opinion, just like you will from Sean on Sup Talk. And these guys are going to give you the real deal and guide you the right way in this crazy industry of ours. Last, but certainly not least, Scotty Appelbaum from Scotty Apex, new IFBB Pro. We all got a chance to, most of us got a chance to witness his IFBB Pro wins at the Team Universe back in July. And you want to talk about sliced and diced. You want to talk about Andreas Munzer-like condition. That is Scott Appelbaum. So, Scott, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of this,
We appreciate it. We'll let Eric get into the specifics with Jason from Animal as well, but Scotty's going to be part of our podcast going forward, and we're just honored to have him. A ridiculous wealth of knowledge, not only on training and diet, and you'll all be better off when you listen to our podcast because of Scott. So thank you again.
Scotty's a friend of mine for like 30-something years, and helped me more than I could say in my life outside of the whole bodybuilding and fitness thing. Great guy. So Jason is absent. He might be missing some episodes. He's just been super busy. One thing really cool that he's been busy working on, and I'm super happy to announce that Animal's bringing the cage back to the Arnold. So he's been crazy busy with the cage, with the whole team over there. And I truly know what it takes to plan that. And it's insane what goes, all the work that those guys do behind it. So if you go into the Arnold, you got to stop by the cage. It's incredible. It's an incredible experience. I'm happy that it's back. The last time they had it was 2019, and it's good that it's back. So Jay's busy with that stuff right now.
Can't wait.
You are going, right, Chris?
I am going. I'm going to have a lot of fun and talk to fans and customers for the brand. Definitely a dream come true for me. I mean, I'm really going for fun, but yet I'm helping out. So it's an honor. And Eric's right. First time for the cage in a long time. Last pitch, I'll say, I think we're booth 801 or 802. We're right.
You can't miss it. You don't need the number. You won't.
Right by stack 3.
Animal takes 2 huge 20x50 booth spaces. So you're not going to visually, you can't miss it. Sean, you're going to be there as well?
If you see the words Universal, I don't know if you can see it behind me.
Yeah.
If you see those words, that's the booth. So you're good to go.
Yeah, I'll be at the Apollon booth. So anybody listening, come on by and say hello.
Okay, so you're working in official capacity at the Apollon booth?
Yes, I'll be popping in and out and then doing content and saying hi to everybody all around. And
that's part of the Stacked 3D Expo, right? They have their own section of brands.
There's about 2022 brands that have never done this before. So it's all kind of first timers, all segmented off into one area. So it's going to be very exciting.
Very cool.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Because I get the Stack 3D email every single day. And, I've been involved in the supplement industry, in some way, shape or form, but I cannot believe the amount of brands and products that are coming out on a daily basis. It's scary,
Yes.
It is.
New one's popping up every day. Scott, will you be in attendance in Ohio?
It's too cold.
I don't blame him. That's always so cold.
He's
there, man.
consistent with his response.
Yeah.
That weekend, I just don't know why they don't move it till later in the year, but that weekend is always cold, man. So many years there were snowstorms and we couldn't get home in time and all that stuff.
I had a quick conversation via DM on Instagram with Ed Connors. Thank you, Ed Connors, for always replying and just kind of staying in touch. I'm honored. Godfather of Golds, basically, right? So he said he's also tried to talk to Jim Lorimer, God rest his soul, and Arnold in the past. Hey, why can't we turn this thing into the spring or the summer? And it's always the worst, weekend of weather. It's everyone getting over sickness, but here we are. We're doing it.
Chris, you're the historian, so I'll ask you, what was the Arnold after the Ironman? Because wasn't it kind of Ironman started the season and people would jump right into Arnold? So maybe that's why.
Yeah, it was a great primer to the Arnold, and I was lucky enough living in Cali in the early 90s, 92 to like 95. I got to watch everyone do their warm up at the Ironman, which really wasn't a warm up at all. It was a fantastic show, and you knew whoever was top 2, top 3 there was really taking that momentum into the Arnold. I think the Arnold was about 2 weeks later, so the Ironman was
always 2 weeks later. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
right.
And the lighting was always amazing.
The best.
Yeah.
The pictures from the Ironman.
Always.
Yeah, the pictures from that show are incredible.
And unfortunately, it was very disappointing because you see these guys at the Ironman, the lighting really good, and then they go to the Arnold and the lighting was not as good. You thought they were they weren't in as good shape, but that wasn't the case.
That's a really good point, Scott. I would tell you, yeah, Mike Neveu, unbelievable job on that backdrop. Lonnie Teeper as the MC. Just an awesome show, and I really got to watch, thankfully, some great shows and then progressed to the Arnold.
I miss Lonnie. I miss him so much. He brought something to the show that nobody else can and has.
He's a gym teacher, right, Chris?
Yeah, valid point to Scott and to Eric. I was lucky enough to have Lonnie Teeper as my gym teacher at Cal State LA.
Oh my God.
How crazy is that? How crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
And I confess, for whatever credits I earned, I didn't train at all. I just talked to Lonnie the entire time about what the next cover was going to be on Ironman magazine, who we thought was up and coming, and we just had such a great time talking. I connect with him on Instagram every once in a while, and that was just such a great experience for me.
Why did he get phased? Because they phased him out. He wasn't willing to leave. He was phased out.
I honestly didn't know that. I don't know if it's how the Olympia and the Arnold is now, and whatever Lonnie Teeper's allegiances were, but he was just right. You said it well. He's just a great historian, great speaker. Had that little humor that he added to
nicknames for everybody.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Wow. Nail on the head, Scott. Nicknames for everyone. Love that. So I don't know. I didn't realize he got phased out. It is a shame.
And even in the national shows, he knew every contestant's name and knew a little bit about them. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, great for the interviews, great for introducing the athletes on the stage, and obviously great for the what was it, the Swami, right? He used to do the article and do his predictions. So Teeper, if you watch this, man, we miss you. Hopefully you find your way back to some form of fashion. I know you do your own show. So
West Coast Classic, I think it is, right?
Something like that. Yeah. So speaking of, people of old, right? The classics, all the personalities, before we get into predictions, what do you guys think? What's your favorites? What's your favorite all times? And then I'm going to say, or ask, what's your favorite, most underrated pro bodybuilders? And we're talking about men's open right now, obviously.
Well, my opinion, I'll chime in first. My favorite, has to be Dexter Jackson.
Interesting.
I mean, his physique is flawless. There's not a weak point on the man's body.
There is.
Uh-oh.
There is. There's calves. His calves are weak.
No, but they're not, like, it's not an obvious weakness. Yes, they may be smaller than the rest of his body, but he has them,
Incredible physique. And I call him Mr. Consistency because, like, he was always in shape. Like,
yes, I've never seen him off, ever.
Yeah, Dexter was,
and just so pleasing to the eye,
Yeah.
It was luckily backstage the year that he beat Jay for the Olympia, which was wild.
Oh,
I
How
actually
long was
love the way
Dexter's
he.
career?
What's that, Chris?
Say-
What was it?
How long was Dexter's career?
Oof.
Gotta be 2 decades.
Yeah, like 20 years.
Nuts.
And just the way he gets on stage, he kind of just saunters on stage. Looks so relaxed.
Yeah, he had some serious
Blade.
swag, no doubt about it.
yeah. I'd say for me, probably underrated Aaron Baker.
Batman.
Yeah, yeah. Got to witness him at Golds back in the 90s too, especially when he was training with Menser and then training with Charles Glass. Aaron was always in contention in every one of those Ironmans, and most would argue that he probably won the 95 when it wasn't in Redondo Beach. It was actually, I think it was at like an LA school or LA college. And that's when Flex was coming back from everything he went through with the auto accident. So Aaron, not to take anything away from Aaron with that, but Aaron, most people would tell you, probably should have won a show with him.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. I agree.
I think the WBF will always haunted him. I think when he came back, I think they held it against him a little bit, no matter what they say.
Definitely. Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
It's hard to choose, man. Most underrated. I mean, I would say for me, probably be like a guy like Eddie Robinson. I'm a big, huge fan of Eddie Robinson. Never thought he got his dues. Again, the WBF factor. Loved the way he posed. Just didn't get into the right shows. I think he was just so ahead of his time. He was late 80s with quads that no one had at that point in time. Still catching up to obviously his upper body a little bit. I'm sorry, his upper body catching up to his lower body, but always a big fan of Eddie Robinson. And then obviously all the books with Dr. Ellington Darden, the book Big and whatnot. So definitely was always a fan of him. As far as anyone else, I love Gary Stridham too. Stridham in person was just a sight to behold. Could all talk about the back.
Yeah, that was the one knock on him was when he competed against Lee Haney, and from the back he looked like a child compared to Lee Haney.
I'll agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I love his physique too.
But from the front, chest, shoulders, arms, and abs. Oh God.
Probably had the best separation of body parts than anybody.
Yes, up top. Yeah.
Right.
I would agree, and I know we're only supposed to pick one, but if I had to pick one other, Charles Claremont.
Interesting.
Wow, it's a good one too.
Yeah. If anyone questions that, I understand he may not be as popular. Just watch the '93 Olympia. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
There were two other bodybuilders that come to mind, and Mike Francois, if we're actually talking about, the Ironman and the Arnold,
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
And, unfortunately, had a health issue and had to kind of retire, but he was amazing. And then Paul DeMeo.
Yeah, God rest his soul, Quadzilla.
Yeah.
Got to see him a lot when I lived in Cali, especially back to your point, Scott, his relationship with Lonnie Tieper. Lonnie would find a way to have him guest pose at many shows. So I think I heard AC/DC more than I ever did between Sonny Schmidt and Paul DeMeo guest posing at at so many shows. So yeah, Quadzilla was something else, and he wasn't quads, only quads. The tries were ridiculous. The biceps were ridiculous.
Yeah. Very round, very, very round.
I spent 6 months in the year 2000 living in California in Aliso Viejo, and he was a personal trainer, like a 24-hour fitness over there. And I talked to him a bunch of times. Wow. Super nice guy. It's a shame what happened to him.
So what was your favorite, Eric?
It's no secret that my favorite bodybuilder of all time is Lee Haney. I still think he had the best physique, and I just love everything about him. Great guy, and I think he was the best Mr. Olympia that there ever was. There were bigger Mr. Olympias after him, but in my opinion, none better. The other guys that got bigger had also had bigger waists and thicker waists and stuff, and he was like a mass monster with a small waist. So he was my favorite.
Well, when it comes to the Olympia, I think, about 7, 8 years from now, people are going to look back and they're going to think differently about, about Dorian, because I think that's, the problem, and I've talked to somebody about this the other day, unless you see Dorian in person, pictures do not do the guy justice.
Mm.
So,
The
totally
graininess,
agree. I was at the
eyes.
90 and the 91 Night of Champions. The one he took second, and then he came back the next year and won it. And
Great shows.
he's a freak. Personally, and this is, I know it's not popular opinion, I was not a big fan of his physique. He was big and he was grainy and hard, but I was not a fan of his shape. I honestly thought Sean Ray should have beat him at the Mr. Olympia, or Kevin LeBron, or one of those guys. But that's just subjective, totally subjective.
Mm-hmm.
I love his physique. I love the training philosophy. I love all that stuff.
But I think he ushered in kind of the graininess, the granite, because up to that, there wasn't anybody that was this granite. I think when you hear granite, you think Dorian.
Yeah, but pictures don't show it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And when people look at it, they go, okay, yeah. But in person, it was lights out, a different ball game, totally different.
Yeah, I would say anyone that wants to get a better feel for what we're talking about with Dorian, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm right. 96 Grand Prix, either English Grand Prix or German Grand Prix, when he was competing against Kevin, Vince Taylor. There's this video out there on YouTube that'll just blow your mind with what we're talking about as far as graininess goes, and size and condition. Lights out. But
and to your point though, in the 90s, the amount of quality bodybuilders out there that he was competing against,
yes,
it's a who's who, from Kevin, to Flex, to Chris Cormier. I mean, there's three right there.
Just go look at those pictures, and they were all in incredible shape.
Yes.
Nobody was off.
Guys, what about somebody that, if they would have had their supplements down right? Paul Dillette. There's another guy that was just a freak with a tiny waist.
He was.
And a towel on his mouth.
He couldn't pose. He's like laboring a towel in his mouth.
Paul had a big issue.
Walk around the gym with a towel in his mouth.
Oh.
He had a big issue with asthma, actually.
Really?
Yes, he had an issue with asthma, and then obviously a little bit further into the career with whatever diuretics he was using.
I don't know. Just watch, like, he wasn't a great poser. Watching his training was so uninspiring.
Yeah, he didn't train hard. Again, I'm this is not for personal experience with him, but when it's been talked about,
Yeah.
Yeah, the video didn't really capture, unfortunately, any intensity, if there was, behind the scenes.
I think he's a guy that just had fantastic genetics.
Yes.
Then
you speak about Flex Wheeler, the best genetics.
Yes.
And I if he would have worked a little bit harder, dieted a little bit stricter.
Yeah, it's really a shame that he never won the Olympia.
Yeah, I'd have to say all-time favorite, all-time everything for me, Flex Wheeler. And no one's been that put together since then. That's just not lacking anything. You could talk about the Cavs with, maybe some, modification. But, one thing about Flex that maybe some don't know, and I was lucky enough to watch him train, very strong, ridiculously strong. 180-pound dumbbells for incline press. I mean, he was the leg press was always stacked to the absolute limit when maybe someone else sitting on top of it. I mean, he was ridiculously strong, just really wasn't filmed. So another, credit to Flex Wheeler.
And speaking about, yes, yeah, what makes that even sound better, Chris, is that, from a mechanical standpoint, he was at a disadvantage. And what I mean by that is he had very small joints. Just from a mechanical standpoint, to say that he's that strong, it's even better than what you're saying,
Yeah. And I was there to witness it. Otherwise, I wouldn't believe someone else telling me about it. You would kind of like the Dillette conversation, but Flex was freaking strong, man. I mean, that's why he hung out with Rico and hung out with Cormier.
Yeah. There was a brotherhood back then, I mean, that's the difference,
So true. So true. So we're all talking about
we spent about 22 minutes talking about the past, so we got to talk about the present.
Yeah, I was just about to say we're all talking about past winners. Let's talk about Arnold 2024 and who we think's going to win the next one. What's your guys' take? I'll kind of go around the room, if you will, and let's all talk about everyone's favorite or what they feel is their top six from first to sixth.
Well, you want to share a screen here? We'll bring up some pictures and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
let's
love
do it.
to. Thank you.
I think everybody, like we talked before this, I think we're all in agreement that at least we all think it's a two-man race. Maybe we're off, but I think we all think it's between Hadi and Samson, unless anybody disagrees.
No.
Yeah.
One of those guys could come in off, but I doubt it.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
You got, former Mr. Olympia Hadi in there, and Samson who's up and coming.
Yeah, Chris, unfortunately, I'm locked. I can't share my screen, but that's okay.
My bad.
Nope, it's all good. But yeah, I know we talked offline here. I mean, this has been one of the harder calls this year, 1 and 2, and even going as far as 6s. I think we agreed. This is a tough one.
Yeah, definitely a tough call.
Who do you guys lean towards out of those two?
I'm going to say I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Samson's going to take it.
In what? Explain, Eric. Give us some details on what your rationale is.
I think when they stand next to each other, your eyes are naturally drawn to the taller guy, right? And Samson lost in my opinion, lost to Hadi in size in the Olympia 2 years ago, but I think Samson's been, bringing that up. So, I mean, obviously it's hard to tell until they're standing next to each other, right? But if Samson has brought up his size and keeps his tiny waist and he's taller, I think he's got an advantage there.
Well, you have a point. And if like, let's say Derek was in this show, or let's say a Nick Walker is in the show, I think that your eyes are going to go towards Nick and Hadi, or Derek and Hadi. But if it's just Hadi and Samson, you're just looking, okay, Samson, you know what I mean, versus Hadi. You follow me?
Yep. Here we go.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Whatever you did here. So let's start off with talking about Samson here.
Yeah. See his recent.
Oh, what happened here? Okay. Okay. So here's a recent
show
one.
that one. Yeah. I saw this the other day, man. It's crazy.
And how far out is this?
This was let's see, Scott.
It was posted 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Assuming that's when the picture was
taken. Because we are 16 days out right now.
Wow, it's that close. Holy cow.
Am I correct on that?
Yeah. Well, it's the 29th, so yeah, 16 days from today. I mean, that starts the festivities.
Yeah.
And then March 1st, Friday's the prejudging. And I believe it is split up, right? Friday night prejudging, Saturday finals.
Yeah.
Is it okay? So
yeah, I know they were talking about the Olympia and how that was organized versus how the Arnold is, but I don't see the difference as far as the schedule. The prejudging 7 to 9 p.m. for men's open, right? Really late. At least that's what it says online, and then again 7 to 10 at night for the finals.
So for me, it's tough because if the whole thing is it gets one on the back, I think it's Hadi, but I think Samson has a better front. So if you take those two out, it's really coming down to all the other poses, in my opinion.
Well, it's really, can Samson come in conditioned enough to beat Hadi? Because we know Hadi's going to be in phenomenal condition.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
He's the Olympia last year.
Samson hasn't been super hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see he looks a little off, right?
A little washed out, yeah.
A little bit. In those pictures we see on Instagram, he looks dry and grainy.
Yeah. So, for the layman, these guys, when you see them by themselves, they all look like Mr. Olympia by themselves. It's when you stand next to another guy at this level is when you can see, differences or flaws or what have you. But I'm going to go with Samson as a prediction. I just feel like he's on the upswing.
Yeah, momentum's definitely his way, right? He's coming to
and you he's the champ from last year, right?
Right, exactly. He's coming to repeat.
How about that?
I can only speak from what Sean was alluding to before, seeing him at the Olympia in person. I just feel that Hadi comes in with that maturity and that graininess and that wow factor. And probably when things get turned to the back, not that Hadi is known for like the most unbelievable back, but I mean, it's getting more cavernous and cavernous as the years go by, and he's learning how to pose it better and better. and just the detail and the greeniness of Hottie just has it for me. And I think Samson is really starting to fulfill his potential. But from what I've watched so far, back and forth side, comparisons today, asking me based on what I see in footage, I'm going to say Hottie first, Samson second.
All right, Scotty, your prediction?
I'm with Chris, and I think Hottie's going to control that abdominal area really well.
He needs to.
Yeah, and he does that very well. He does, And I think
Sure.
he's a man. I think he's a man on a mission right now.
Yeah.
You think he's pissed off that he lost the Olympia?
Yeah, because it could, if something, it could have been a toss-up.
Yeah.
And these picks are what, Sean? Probably 4 weeks ago?
It says February 5th, but I don't know if
February
that's when he
5th.
actually took
Yeah,
them.
but again,
Okay.
you never know if it's that day or.
His waist looks very thick there.
Yeah, but he's
He
great
looks
too,
blocky.
though.
He looks very blocky there, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
No, yes, I agree, but he's not going to come and block.
If he's that lean on February 5th, like he's got shredded glutes already. It's pretty crazy.
And I think it's probably earlier than February 5th, probably. I'm guessing.
Yeah. You don't know when, right? You don't know when he actually took the picture. He posted on February 5th.
Listen, once he takes some dandelion root of Uva Ursi, he's going to be in shape.
Because like Samson doesn't really hold the amount of water that Hottie does. You know what? On show day, Hottie comes in dry.
Right. And he's got Hani in his corner. So
yeah.
Who's Samson's coach?
Milos.
Mike Milos.
Oh, okay. No slouch in the coaching department.
Yeah, explains why he's making a lot of progress. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So can we agree or disagree that Samson probably will be Olympia in the next couple of years? Does anybody feel strong enough to say he'll be there?
It's not easy. It's not a slam dunk. I think he's got the potential.
I think he's it just needs a little more time.
Yeah, because I feel Hottie is almost coming to that point where he's almost maxed out his physique. He can keep putting on a little muscle without blowing out his waist.
No, he probably shouldn't put on. He's going to get boxier. And the same thing could happen to Derek. But I will tell you that Samson can hold more,
That's what I mean, yeah.
Right. Bigger frame.
My understanding too is I think Hottie is actually 1 year younger than Samson.
Give or take, yeah, it's like 35,
I think
37.
Hottie's 36 and Samson's 37.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those guys are not young.
But I think Samson started later than Hottie did.
Yes. So Hottie,
there's a bodybuilding age. What is their bodybuilding age?
True. Ronnie won the Olympia at 40, so.
Yeah.
I think that was always the beauty of Vince Taylor. Started late and was just able to keep going on,
Another phenomenal physique and a really, really nice guy.
Yes.
Super nice guy. Love Vince Taylor. Love him.
Sean, what was your official pick? Hottie or Samson?
I'm gonna reserve to the end here, guys. I hate to tell you this.
Okay. All right.
So
You want to keep it secret? Okay.
I'm gonna keep it secret. Here's a favorite
move on to like 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about 3. Yeah.
So, well, I know you said on my podcast, Derek, but maybe you've changed. But
no, this is my dark horse for 3rd. Is Hollingshead. I think he's gonna definitely get top 5, and I think he's gonna crack top 3.
Milos is actually working with him. You know that? Milos is working with him as well.
Yes.
I like James a lot. Nice guy, but I mean, I've seen really significant improvements in his physique, and he hasn't competed in a while. And I think he's going to come and crack the top 3.
And this is 1 day ago, so give or take, take that timestamp as it is.
And in that shape, he was doing bent over rows with 4 plates for like 12 to 15 reps.
He's a strong bodybuilder. Yeah. Oh my God.
He's very old school in the Dorian British fashion. I met him a few years ago at Body Power. Super nice guy. We talked to him a little bit about signing for Animal.
Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah.
Eric.
Yes.
All right. I mean, when I look at him, so let's compare him to Rafi and John De La Rosa.
Okay.
Which are 2 other bodybuilders that could really battle for 3rd.
For sure. I like John's physique a lot.
Okay, so I'll bring up John here. So Eric, are you still staying with James in 3rd?
Yeah, I got to stick with my prediction. And I know it's a dark horse prediction.
Right, sorry, Eric.
No.
I'm going to jump with you. I'm actually jumping on your bandwagon because I hear sometimes that people are judged on how much they've improved from the last show. And if that's the case, I think James has made one of the best maybe best transformations from his last outing.
And I think he took a year off. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, he took a while off. Might have been longer than a year. It's been a while.
And here's John. This is today, 43 minutes ago. Oh no, I'm sorry. Never mind. That's when the timestamp was. I don't know when this was.
Like Hottie, he will get super dry, but he may not appear dry now. That's the way his body works. I mean, I've watched him.
Yeah, because I don't think he has anything updated as of yet. This is all 3 days ago.
Quiet. Yeah, he's been pretty quiet.
Another super nice guy, New Yorker.
Floridian right now. He's a Floridian in Sunrise, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some older ones.
Look, he was in Chicago, right? It wasn't in Chicago and took second. Am I correct?
I believe you're right.
Yeah, I think you're right, Scott.
Yeah, who won that? Justin Shire?
Yes. So
do you guys want to put it?
That was his debut.
Do you guys want to put a number on him, or we're still too early here?
On De La Rosa?
Yeah.
I don't have one yet.
Okay.
And the other person that I'd like to bring up, is Akeem Williams.
Okay.
So, I mean, that on size, he's got the potential to win the whole thing. Just on size, he's had trouble coming in.
Look, he has come as high as 6th in the Olympia.
Yes.
I was a little concerned about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if he came in top 3 or even 1, like if he came in the right shape.
You're saying Akeem, Eric?
Yeah, he's got that potential.
Okay.
Like he's one of those guys that has that potential. I'm not saying he's gonna, because he's had trouble coming in consistently.
Does anybody know who he's working with? Does anybody know who he's working with?
I'll have to ask Vinny. One of us can ask Vinny offline. Vinny probably knows.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just a little concerned with all the tape that he's got on.
Why are you concerned?
What do you wear it for?
It's KT tape. It could be for anything.
That regularly?
It could be for a strain. It could be protect him from an injury.
Shoulders today.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
What I was impressed with there, you could see his glutes coming in already, and he doesn't really. His glutes never, only a handful of shows that those glutes come out.
This is just sick. You don't see much, but
I got him in my top 6, but I don't have him in the top 3.
Yeah.
Where do you guys have Rafi?
It's a tough one.
Brandau?
Yeah.
I have him in 5th.
Third or 4th for me. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Not surprising. He's unbelievable, but
he's put on a lot of size from what I've been told.
He's just so aesthetically put together.
Yes.
Very clean physique.
This is a tough lineup, guys.
He doesn't post.
Yeah, he's got a very, very marketable.
He also switched coaches.
Who's his coach?
I think it's Neil Hill now, and I think he was working with Chris Aceto.
Is he is he Brazilian?
Pretty serious right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 5 days ago, guys. Or according to this, 5 days
Pretty
ago.
serious right there.
Again, though, all these guys are going to look great by themselves. All of them.
Yeah, I think to your point before, Eric, I'm a Hollingshead for 3rd for sure. For as far as I'm concerned, this is the guy that definitely could upset that prediction to me. And everyone, talks about, DeAngelis Horse MD. He's also awesome. I think he's a little more shallow in the upper body than someone like this. And I think he might get exposed that way, but
it's good to see. It'd be great to see Rafi and Marcelo DeAngelis being actually compared, to each other.
Right. What do they look like next to each other?
Yeah.
Oh, so he's an older one, a horse. He's the one I think he's got a lot of momentum around him. Everyone keeps talking about him.
Nice small waist.
He actually called out Samson. He did a side tricep shot to Samson, and that's the shot right there. And
he looks crazy.
Again, why he's called the horse, right? Look at that ham drop. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it was also an older picture that he was comparing to versus Samson. And again, Eric, you keep saying it best. It's, put them on stage together. Whole different story than seeing them in a picture by themselves. But this guy's pretty damn impressive, man.
Didn't he beat, and correct me if I'm wrong, he won a show overseas and he kind of upset Brett Wilkin. Am I correct on that?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think and then Brett won the following week. You know, they were, I think it was somewhere over in Europe.
Not sure.
That's definitely a bodybuilder that's going to fulfill his potential. Wilkins,
Yeah.
if he's got his gut health back, he's going to be something else. He's solid, man.
What about Justin Rodriguez?
I'm not confident in him, you know.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
In the last couple of shows, he's come in not looking good. You know what I mean? Like his body was beat up.
I think Justin's an unbelievable competitor. His front double biceps probably one of the best out there, especially on the angle that he hits it. He's a fierce competitor. Certainly seeing him on stage. There is a 2022 comparison of Olympia, I believe, to 2024, 4 weeks out from the All right now, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing.
And he's changing coaches so often, you know. That's been a really a knock on him, you know.
I don't hold the candle to your forearm, but I just, you know, just critically speaking, judging by at least the picture, I was like, I feel like, you know,
it should be two. It should be 2 L's.
Body's got some wear and tear.
So it's good that you're pulling up Antoine. So I'm not unbiased because I'm very friendly with Antoine. So I do have him in the top 6, but it's probably because I'm biased.
And here's 3 days ago.
Amazing physique, man. He
does have a good physique. Yeah.
Oh, it's beyond good. He's so put together.
I'm very.
But like when you compare his side to like Horse MD with those, I mean, the hamstrings here on the side by side, I think Horse is going to smoke him.
But that's just one. You're talking one muscle, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean in general, the package, yeah.
Antoine's kind of like, and please take this as a compliment, Antoine, if you watch it. He's like a Danny Padilla in this show. You know, I think just ridiculously put together, you know, statuesque. Will he just have enough size to impress everyone, or is he going to win on detail, you know?
That's the thing, is the size, right?
He'll definitely be in shape, for sure.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, it's ridiculous. Look at the striations on his delts.
I'm just proud that Antoine's doing well after all he's been through.
Yes.
Because he beat the
great
odds.
Personality. Fun dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 7 days ago. All vascularity coming in hard.
And he won not too long ago, right? Didn't he win Toronto? He won a show or 2?
He has won a couple of pro shows. I don't know if it was recent.
Well, he made it to the Olympia, you know, the year before last.
He's been in the winner's circle before.
Yeah.
Slouch.
I think he could win a show, but it's not going to be this one, you know?
I agree. It's a deep lineup. I do have him in 6, but again, that's probably biased.
And then, of course, there's you know, Mohammed Shaban.
Yeah,
you know, Mr. Quads. You know, I mean, you know, and he's saying that he's going to come in much more balanced. You know, and he hasn't competed for about a year. As we're talking, I'm getting really excited to watch this because it could go in so many different ways, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's 11 guys, but it's a pretty solid, evenly compared 11 people. And of course, we talked about the top 2, and pretty much everyone says the same thing. Those are your 2 front runners. But, man, from 3rd to 11, a lot can happen. A lot can happen.
So who are we most looking forward to? Like, who do you think is going to come in and surprise everybody? Who's going to do the most damage? Regardless of placing, who's people like that maybe talking about that's going to surprise everybody?
Well, I think Rafi is, you know?
Okay.
I like that prediction too, although I would have said Hollingshead, but we just see so much of him. Now it's not becoming as much of a surprise anymore. But, man, the graininess is just off the charts.
If Milos can bring him in shredded and full, that's the key with him, you know? His metabolism, from what I understand, is so crazy fast.
His detail's unbelievable. Weeks
definitely put on a lot of size since the last time he's competed. That's why I picked him to place higher.
So, guys, let me ask you a question because I spoke with Stu Sutherland earlier today. This came up in the conversation about what's the proper amount to post. Okay, Scott, you're a pro now, okay, but it doesn't seem like you're posting every day up to the show. I mean, are people spoiling it by posting too much?
It, you know, depends, because part of that is, you know, their business. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, but I
If
know a
you-
lot of times though people post, and then the day of, you're like, where did the guy go that's been posting all week? He's all watered down and flat. Or where's the lighting? That's just
I-
me.
You kind of want to, I think you want to kind of save a little bit for mystery, right?
Yes.
Not all of it, but some of it you want to save for mystery. Maybe say it's 4 weeks out when it's really 6 weeks out, and kind of trick everybody, that type of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Hollingshead, but I also feel like we're already seeing him, right? Can you imagine if we didn't know this condition right now and he shows up to the show with the pictures that we're seeing? It's like, holy shit, so that's one thing you got to be careful of.
Well, if I could just age myself a little bit. So when I was competing back in the 80s and 90s, and you could compete like within your geographical area, I used to always, be covered up until the day of the show. You know what I mean? There was no social media,
right.
and I'm like, I'm not showing anybody what I look like,
I
But
think
to
I'm
Scotty's-
they'll see me that day,
To Scotty's point, we live in an attention economy, and if this is these guys' business, I would argue that they should post more. Maybe not necessarily their physique, but maybe they should post just more content.
more different content,
Behind the scenes stuff. I think they should post more. Maybe not just the physique shots, but post more behind the scenes stuff. But these guys should be active and actively engaging their own communities online.
Well, yeah, they're very they're myopic. I mean, it's only what it's me and my physique, where there's so much more that they can do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Scott, you're very versatile. I like your content, but I don't like when
Yeah.
you bash, or I don't like when you bash Oreos, but that's another subject.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a whole grill Coach Scotty section one day. I have some hard hitting questions.
Check out
to
Scott's
ask him.
recommendations on simple meals.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to predictions here.
Yeah, who are we missing? Did we miss anybody? Rubiel? Did we talk about him?
Rubio's
Rubio's out.
Oh, he's out. Okay, so Rubiel's
He's
out.
out.
I think we hit everybody. I'm looking at the
Jack's out.
list.
Andrew Jack's out.
Yeah,
Obviously.
that would have been interesting if Andrew was in. That would have been very interesting.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The guy who won last year. His last name is he won the amateur last year. Bose, B-O-S-E. I think his name is
Yeah, Remico.
yes. Yeah, that's the only other guy we have not mentioned.
Can you pull him up, Sean? So we can
Yeah, let me see if I can find him. While I'm pulling him up, what are your everyone's thoughts on Rubiel at the moment? Like when you look at him, I mean, is he a player? Is he just a hodgepodge of parts? I mean that respectively, but
I think anyone that's got freakiness is a player.
This is the Nexzilla guy? Is that who we're talking about?
Yes, yeah. I've heard through the grapevine that Chris, who has been working at Cormier,
Yeah.
is a little frustrated with him.
In what way?
Nothing specific. I mean, I know he really didn't start the prep, and then he was going to be behind because he was went to his like home in Colombia, I think is where he's from originally,
Okay,
and he wasn't really even training at the time. Around the holidays.
interesting. Definitely a freak factor. He's got that going.
because what was the gentleman's name? Remico? Trying to spell it.
Remeco.
And Bose, B-O-S-E, or Bose.
Okay. Yep, got him. Let me share.
I think you're gonna find he might be not exactly in the same league. Detailed, but size.
Yeah.
So again, like this guy looks great on his own, but for whatever reason,
I'd kill to look like that.
yes. But for whatever reason, I feel like and again, I'd have to see it in person, but you put him next to Hottie, he's gonna look really small.
Look from the back. I mean, you don't see the quads from the back. The shallow in the hamstring.
Glutes, shallow, yeah. He looks not small for a regular person. He looks small for a pro bodybuilder.
For a guy who's going to be in the Arnold.
Right. He'd be the biggest guy in any local gym, but
Listen,
look, there are 3 huge shows a year. We talk the Arnold, the New York Pro, and the Olympia. Those are the 3 top. Am I right?
Yeah.
You qualify, go for it. I would love nothing more than someone like this to shock us. So.
Why not go in? I mean, you won it last year, which makes this an automatic invite. Why not?
For sure. Yeah, no, he earned it, man. Let him go.
No doubt.
He probably just
Smoked
needs
a
a
lot
little
of
more
other-
time, put some more
He
size
smoked a
on.
lot of other competitors to get here. So
Yeah, and the Arnold Amateur is no joke, man.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree. So this was the third. So yeah, I think he could grow into something, but yeah, I think I don't know if he's gonna crack. He'll be high singles maybe, if not 10.
It's his first pro show, or has he done a pro show since he got his card?
I don't know.
I don't think so. It just says Arnold Classic competitor.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else you guys thinking of in the open? I think we covered everybody, right?
That is everybody. I'm looking at the most current list here.
So here's the older poster. Remco, James, Dowda. Yeah, I think we've hit everybody. And then obviously Andrew Jack is out, Rubiel is out.
I like that it's only like 11 guys. I always feel like, I've said it before, I feel like the Olympia should be 10 people, like no more than 10.
Well, you know what it's gonna be great with that. I'm hoping, and I see that Tyler does this now, and if he's gonna be judging, and Steve, they're gonna do a ton of comparisons, which excites me, you know.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard with a large group.
You're gonna have the time, you know.
It's hard with a large group to compare everybody. So we got about 10 minutes left, and I know, Scotty, you wanted to talk about Classic too, right? So do you guys want to talk about that?
Well, we haven't actually made our predictions, you know.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's true. We got to give our top 6.
All right, you guys start off, and then I'll have mine.
Well, who's gonna be the note taker here?
Well, we'll be on video, so we can always go back to the video.
I could notate it on paper.
Okay. I like him, old school, paper and pen.
Not me,
on my legal pad.
I'm digital, man.
Who wants to go first?
I'll throw mine out. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
I got Samson winning. I got Hottie in second. I got James Hollingshead in third. I got Raphael in fourth. I got Akeem in fifth, and my buddy Antoine in sixth.
Go ahead, Scott.
I have Hottie in first. Samson is second. I have Horse MD in third. I got Brandow in fourth. I have Hollingshead in fifth. And wrapping up my top 6 will be Akeem Williams.
Wow, okay.
If you get it right, you win a year's supply of dog butter.
Wow, that's big.
What does that come out to? 6 jars?
It depends on the size of the dog. With Scott's dog,
Yeah, on mine, yeah.
That'll last a long time.
All right, Chris, you ready?
Yeah. So I'm going to do Hottie first.
No,
Samson.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead. I thought you go ahead.
I got Hottie first, Samson second. I've got Rafa third, Hollingshead fourth. Okay. I've got DeAngelis in fifth and Akeem in sixth.
Wow. Okay. A lot of differences here. Okay. So Eric, you and I are almost close here. So I have, Chris, when you're ready, I have Samson first, Hottie second, James third.
Nice.
I have Horse Marcelo fourth. I have Brandow in fifth, and Antoine in sixth.
Interesting. You got Akeem Williams out of the top 6.
And you know, we spoke about him. We like him. We left. You know, nobody picked in their top 6. You know,
De La Rosa.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I like John. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in there instead of one of those guys. But somebody's got to be left out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who was your 6th place, Sean?
Antoine.
Nice.
But is John more the guy for the smaller shows though, where he really will shine, versus this he might get lost in the shuffle?
Well, the reason I didn't pick him, I like him a lot. Justin beat him, and Justin took, I think, last in the Olympia. That's what I was stuck in my head, you know.
Interesting.
I think what's even more interesting, guys, in a couple of weeks, you got UK and Samson and Hottie are going to be going at it again, barring any issues.
When is that? Is that right after the Arnold?
I think 3-4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume James is going to do that too, since he's from the UK. It kind of.
Oh, James is definitely doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So whoever wins, if somebody goes 2 for 2, that's going to really be the momentum maker going into the Olympia. But if it splits, it's going to be interesting.
Well,
what do you guys think of Classic series?
I think of there's 4 main players. And you have Ramon, Urs, Breon, and Wesley Visser. So those are your top 4.
Okay. I like that.
I don't see anybody else that I think can break into. I think there's those 4, and then I think there's everybody else. No disrespect to any of those other bodybuilders.
Isn't Ruffin competing?
No,
He's not, huh?
no. I mean, actually, I have the list.
Wouldn't he be going for 3-time if he competed?
Was it him or was it the other person that was opening up a gym? There was somebody that back they didn't do it because they were opening up a gym, and I think it might have been him.
And the other is also who's always there is Courage O'Para. Sure, you guys know who he is?
Who's that,
Who's
Scott?
it?
Courage O'Para,
No.
very good bodybuilder.
No, I'm not familiar with him.
Okay, so classic physique. We have Eric Brown, Michael Daboul, Daryl Farrell, Antoine Loth, Courage O'Para, Damian Patrick, Ramon, Emmanuel Riccati, Terrence
He's going for a
Ruffin.
repeat.
I think it's Terrence that's opening up the gym, and Wesley Vissers. There's the list right there for you guys.
I just want to say, Courage is a very cool name.
Yeah, I think it's Ramon's to lose.
Okay.
I don't follow classic enough to give an educated opinion.
Yeah, he's pretty serious.
Well, I mean, he gave, Seabaum a little run for his money,
I thought everybody was talking about Urs being like the next guy. Is he not?
Urs in the future, but not now. I think, I mean, just the way I see it is, it's Ramon, and then Urs and Breon are going to fight for 2, and Wesley for 4th.
So I'm going to do a totally out of the wacky prediction versus what everyone else is thinking. And Sean, I don't know if you could pull it up, but if you pull up Wesley Visser's Instagram.
Sure.
I know you're a fan of his, Chris. You've mentioned his name.
I'm a fan of his, but forget that.
Okay.
Arnold-esque, kind of like Cedric McMillan. Wesley Vissers personifies Arnold in so many poses and in physique. And I think he's going to get this chance on this stage for Arnold to like really be like, do you see this guy? Look at how this guy's posing.
You're not wrong.
Now go to a couple of the back shots that were very recent, right there. I mean,
7 days ago.
I gotta stop following this guy.
That's damn wide. That's pretty darn wide.
I mean, wide and detailed.
And look, you made a comment. It's right there.
Did I? I didn't even know that.
There you are.
Yeah.
Winner.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Funny.
Yes.
Yo, look at the separation on his delts. Like his
real
rear
delts
delts are split into 3 heads.
That looks crazy.
His rear delt has 3 separate heads.
Scroll to the next picture on that post and look at his rear lat spread. He's got striations on a real lat spread.
This is Munzer right here all day.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man.
Another one, I think. Yeah.
Is he young? He looks like a young guy, is he?
He's pretty young.
Where's he from? Anybody know?
Netherlands?
Yeah, Netherlands. You're right.
Yeah.
Netherlands, yeah.
So that's that is the logic, not only the quality of his physique and how he poses. I think Arnold's really going to take to this guy like he took to Cedric. And listen, politics
Arnold's not the judge.
Yes.
That's like an Arnold shot
that's a
right
serious
here.
pose, man.
Yeah,
that's an Arnold shot right there.
Yeah, the twisting bicep.
No, he looks great. But again, everybody you said looks good by themselves.
Yeah.
And Ramon won it last year. I don't know if anybody knows that. Ramon won it last year.
Yep.
Yes.
I got to tell you, though, after seeing those pictures, and I love Urs, Wesley looks fuller, like more complete than Urs in those shots.
Yeah, I think he's finally going to get, he's always kind of in the background. We'll get an 8th, get a 7th. Obviously, he did better at the Olympia this year. He did get, I think he got top 6 or top 5. I think this is the year when people really start to notice, like when this guy fills out, could be a future Bumstead. I mean, next to Bumstead, you're going to your guys' points, you're definitely going to see a huge difference in size. No doubt about it. But as this guy starts to fill out, pretty serious lines.
I agree. And Urs, it looks great, but he lacks, like, he needs more time. That's all he needs,
Yeah, he's been picked on for his biceps, and he knows it. He's been very open, saying he needs to work on his biceps. A few other things, but that's his biggest weakness.
Is he from Germany, Urs?
I believe so, in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, and he was training with Marcus Ruhl.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you see some of the news outlets that Ramon and Chris are training once in a while, and people are saying, "Oh, that's Chris," kind of almost handing over the anointing the next champion once Chris steps away.
Interesting.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's what a couple of news outlets are saying. Dave Palumbo might have said it. Who knows? And he's very valid.
It's really Bumstead's to give up whenever he wants, as he becomes a dad and he's talking about doing, his recreational activities. He's, in Aspen, Colorado,
Yeah, I don't see him
snowboarding,
competing much longer.
I mean,
But no, it was close between him and Ramon. It was closer than people thought it was going to be.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Ramon's got serious detail and size.
So Scott,
I
when are
think
you?
those are your four. Those are your four.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're even on both our between the four of us. Two of us pick Samson as the winner, and two of us pick Hadi as the winner.
Yeah.
We'll see who's right and who's wrong in a couple of weeks.
So now I'm, doing this podcast like that and talking about this, it got me even more excited,
Cool.
And they're doing a free live stream this year, which will be really nice.
Yes.
What is free?
It's
Really?
free this year. Yes, Arnold.
Yes.
Because I think Arnold did it to compete with the Olympia to kind of give it a good old stick it in their face. I'm giving everybody free access to it this year.
Wow.
Yeah, you had an airplane or biplane go by over Orlando with the banner on the plane while the Olympia was going on.
Cool.
They've been promoting this show for months. I'm getting emails literally months and months and months ago,
Well,
I'm like, wow, it's so far away.
I think the biggest thing is, right, they want to catch up on all the, the expo, which many of us are involved with, right? I mean, they haven't been able to really spread their wings for a couple of years. So now they're hoping to gain all that back with everyone going nuts for the expo.
I think the expo is going to be huge. I think people are itching to get back to it. I'm upset that I'm not going to be able to be there, but you guys are going to have a blast.
Sean and I will do some live simulcast to you.
Okay. I'll be
We're
busy.
gonna have everybody. Spencer's gonna come and hang out with us too, our buddy Spencer.
Yeah. Well, I would have loved to catch up with everybody, but I'll be busy. Sorry. But you guys are going to have a blast. A blast.
Eric, where are you gonna be? I know you told me off record, but where are you gonna be?
Yeah, it's so there's a Super Pet Expo every year in New Jersey. It's our largest trade show. And every year it's been in January, and this year they happened to move it to the first weekend of March, which sucks because Animal actually asked me to come and help with the cage. I would have been able to be there and helping out with the cage, which I would have loved to do, but it's our biggest event for the business.
Protein shakes with Eric?
Yeah. I used to go, dude, every year I used to go on stage and give an award because Animal was one of the major sponsors. I was on that stage 8, 9 years in a row giving awards. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And again, we didn't get into it, but handicap wheelchair competition, right? Harold, I believe the guy's first name is
Harold Kelly, yes.
Yeah. And I got a chance to meet Scott at the Olympia, who runs, who former winner and runs all the wheelchair competitions.
Yeah, he's good dude.
What a dynamite guy.
Good dude. Those guys are so much respect for those guys.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Talk about dedication, talk about no excuses, just insane. And then as far as is there women's or men's, there's men's physique,
Yeah.
Women's bikini, and is it women's wellness?
Men's wellness.
Don't even. Apparently that was a joke, and apparently everybody took it a little too far.
Oh, that's pretty serious. Yeah, yeah. I know Tyler addressed that today.
Yeah, well, there was some posts where they said if you didn't hear it from us, it's not official, and that's
yes,
not happening.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think people just took it a little too far. I'm glad it was a joke.
Scott, now that the schedule's out, are you looking at anything this year yourself?
No. I'm living vicariously through my athletes,
Gonna be crazy and bring the body fat up to 5%?
For the winter,
Yeah. The winter's over here, right? The winter's already over. We're in February. The winter's over, here.
If any of you watch and want to see some of the things that we talked about on this podcast, do yourself a favor and look up Scott Appelbaum and look up the footage of when he became pro in July, won the Team Universe. I mean, if you want to talk about an anatomy chart, I mean, Eric and I were lucky enough to see it in person. It was absolutely ridiculous. And Scott, how many years young are you now?
I'm going to be 61 in June.
Amazing.
So he was 60 at this show, just looking absolutely ridiculous. You need to watch it. It was incredibly inspirational.
I got to tell you, I'm blessed to do what I do every single day. Talk about the wheelchair athletes. I cannot wait to get to the gym in the morning. And I know that I'm blessed to be able to physically do what I do. And I'm getting better and better and better and better. I'm not getting worse. I'm getting better. And, just to share, I hooked up with this company I'm a part of called Integrated Wellness, and, I am, working with them because I used their protocols over the last several years to be really optimized at 60, years old.
Surging at 60. It's pretty serious.
Yeah, this is the new way to age, man. I've learned a ton from Scott, and trying to implement a lot of stuff so that and
we'll talk about this, longevity and aging and wellness. That's really where, where it's at, and because there's so many people that are in their, 40s, 50s, and 60s that don't realize that you can really do a lot with your mind, body, and live a longer, healthier life. Not just longer, healthier. Quality of life. Like I tell people, I want you to burn out like a bright light. I do not want you to slowly dim.
I think we should end it on that note, fellas, because that's
prophetic right there.
Yeah.
It's great advice. Well, if you want, again, follow all of us. This is thanks to Sean for putting it together. He's the guest on Gym Guys podcast, but we're usually the guest on his show on Sup Talk Radio, Masters Muscle. Sean, why don't you plug your sites or your Instagrams? Make sure everyone gets it right so they can follow all the great information. And I'll get to Scott and I'll get to Eric as well.
So I just want to say thank you to both you, Eric, and Chris, okay? Because I've been podcasting for 11 years, as scary as that is. I have never been on someone else's podcast.
Really?
So I've been like biting. It's hard because I feel weird. I've been biting my tongue, like not trying to overtake this podcast. Remembering it's not mine. It's not mine. It's yours. So, but anyway, I'm honored. And I'm humbled.
This is the people's podcast, my friend.
Yeah.
You smell what I'm
appreciate
cooking?
you honoring us with your presence. And again, we're not just saying it because it's on this episode. I mean, we all watch each other's content and take from it, and that's the beauty of this.
Well, this podcast would have never happened without Sean. Sean helped us get it off the ground, like gave us all the knowledge and stuff. Yeah,
I appreciate it, guys. So I'm at SupTalk_radio. I'm the host of Sup Talk Radio. I'm the co-host of the Masters Muscle, and I'm also the co-host of the Final Scoop podcast, all over on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, I was on your podcast with Vinny. Yeah. You're an excellent moderator. Really, you really are.
I appreciate that, Scott. Thank you.
He does a great job. He does. Keeps it in check.
Yeah.
Scotty, where can they find you? We're talking about 60 years of training and knowledge and dieting and all your advice and all your experience.
Well, you can get me on Instagram at IFBB Pro _Scotty Apex. And then my website is scottythebodymechanic.com. As well as, my affiliation with Integrated Wellness, it's IWNYC.com.
Awesome. Well, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
And Eric, besides the subs, the reviews, the entertainment.
I'm now studying to get certified in canine nutrition.
Oh,
so I'm adding that. So yeah, you can follow me on the gram at _Eric_Schwartz. Please follow Paw Power Nutrition at Paw Power Nutrition.
Love it. And as far as me goes, Drago 1850 on Instagram, 1,850 pounds of pressure, like from the movie Drago.
Nice.
And obviously a difficult name to talk about right now with the passing of Carl Weathers.
Brutal. We could do a whole episode on that.
We could do a whole episode on Carl Weathers.
How could you not? I mean, right? Probably for the four of us on this, probably one of the guys that got us started. I mean, the way he spoke, his confidence, his physique, from movie to movie. Who does not love Carl Weathers? God rest his soul. What an unbelievable character and presence on this earth as far as motivation and inspiration.
That one hit hard.
Eric and I spoke about it, offline, and Rocky would have not been Rocky without Carl Weathers. Without him as Apollo Creed.
There's no Rocky without Apollo Creed.
And Stallone has gone on to say the same thing in many, many recent posts. I think he was just on Jimmy Fallon, and he did a few minutes on talking about how magnificent he was and how there absolutely would have been no Rocky if it wasn't for this guy coming in with that voice, with that presence, with that confidence.
Incredible character, and his whole like character arc throughout the 4 movies was incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
So with that, I want to thank everyone again for joining us. Check us out on Jim Guy's podcast. Check out Sup Talk Radio, Poor Power, Scotty Apex. And again, stay tuned. We're going to be providing more content with more great guests on our show, talking about supplements, talking about equipment, gyms that we've been at, gym crawls that we go to, and certainly giving you a recap of our experience at whoever's going to the Arnold Classic this year. So please stay tuned, and thank you everyone for following our channel. Thank you everyone on the show for participating.
Thank you for having us.
Great training, everyone.